Everyone's telling you to do a Roth conversion. Your advisor, YouTube, Reddit, it's everywhere. And sometimes they're right. But there are 5 specific situations where a Roth conversion backfires, where you end up paying more, not less. By the end of this video, you'll know what those 5 situations are and how to avoid them. I'm an ER physician, not a financial planner. I was planning a Roth conversion for my own retirement until I ran the numbers, and this video is about what I learned. The first reason not to do a Roth conversion is one most people think they already understand, but they're surprised when they actually do the math. Here's what's happening when you do a Roth conversion. You're taking money out of a pre-tax account like a 401k or traditional IRA, paying taxes on it now and moving it to a Roth. What does that look like with real numbers? Let's say you want to convert $100,000 and you're currently in the 32% tax bracket. That is a $32,000 tax bill today. But if you wait until you're retired and your income drops and you're in the 22% tax bracket, that same conversion costs $22,000. The entire point of a Roth conversion is to reduce the total taxes you pay over your lifetime. So paying more to convert doesn't make sense. You want to wait until retirement drops you into a lower tax bracket. But there's a second cost hiding in this math, and it shows up in how you pay that tax bill. Let's look at that same $100,000 conversion. If you pull $22,000 of the tax bill out of the IRA itself, you're moving only $78,000 to the Roth. At 7% over 10 years, that could grow to $153,000. If you pay the tax bill out of the IRA, you're not getting the full benefit of the tax-free growth. You're just changing the timing of the tax payment. The math works better when the full amount gets to compound inside of the Roth. So before you convert anything, estimate your tax bill and make sure you have cash outside of the IRA to cover it. If you don't, that alone may be a reason to wait. But even if you have the taxes covered, you want to watch out for this next reason. It's a timing trap, and it specifically hits people who want to retire early in their 50s. Most people who retire early assume they can access their Roth money whenever they need, and that assumption is wrong. And the rule behind it is one most people haven't explained clearly. There are 2 separate 5-year clocks attached to Roth accounts. The first, for original Roth IRAs, at least 5 years must pass from your first contribution, and you must be 59 and a half to withdraw earnings without a penalty. The second is the one people miss. When you do a Roth conversion, that converted amount starts its own 5-year clock. If you withdraw earnings on that converted amount before 5 years have passed and before you're 59 and a half, you owe a 10% penalty on those earnings on top of the income tax you've already paid when you converted. Your original Roth contributions are always available tax and penalty free. It's the gains on the converted amount where this clock matters. And here's where early retirees get caught. You plan to use that money sooner than most, but depending on when you converted and how much it grew, those earnings are locked behind both the 5-year window and the age requirement. You're sitting on money you plan to access and you can't touch it without a penalty. This doesn't make Roth conversions wrong. It makes the timing critical in a way most people are never told. The question to ask yourself is, given my actual retirement age and timeline, do these rules restrict my access to this money? That's a timing problem. The next reason is a cost problem. And for anyone retiring before 65, it may be the most expensive reason on this list. Healthcare is the #1 reason people stay in jobs they'd otherwise leave. The moment you step out of employer coverage, you're looking at a gap, sometimes 10 years before Medicare. And a Roth conversion can make that gap significantly more expensive. Before 65, most people go to the ACA marketplace to buy health insurance, and depending on your income, you could qualify for substantial subsidies. But ACA subsidies are based on your modified adjusted gross income, and a Roth conversion counts as income because you're withdrawing from those pre-tax accounts. Let's say you're married, retired at 60 with $60,000 coming in from portfolio withdrawals and part-time work. At that income, you could qualify for real subsidies. Now, let's say you decide to do a $50,000 Roth conversion. Your taxable income now jumps to $110,000. And depending on your state and the plan, you may have just lost $12,000 to $18,000 in annual subsidies. You're not only paying taxes on the conversion, you're also paying full price for health insurance. And that can easily wipe out whatever the conversion was supposed to save. But it doesn't stop at 65. Once you hit Medicare, there's a second income-based trap called IRMA, the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount. If your income exceeds certain thresholds, Medicare charges you more for Part B and Part D. And here's the part that catches people. IRMA is based on your income from 2 years prior. If you do a large conversion at 63, you may not feel that Medicare hit until 65 when you've completely forgotten about it. And by then, it's locked in for the year. Most people will never connect those two events. By the way, if you're navigating this healthcare gap between retirement and Medicare, I have a free guide specifically on coverage strategies for those years. The interaction between retirement income and ACA subsidies is exactly what this guide covers. The link is below. Healthcare is a cost problem. The next reason is a strategic one, and it's about whether that window you've been planning around actually exists for you. The Roth conversion strategy is built on a specific assumption that there's a window in retirement where your income drops low enough to make conversions worthwhile. And here's how that window is supposed to work. After you retire and before Social Security starts, your income is lower than at almost any other point in your life. That's when you convert just enough to fill your tax bracket without crossing into the next one. For instance, in 2025, if your income was $40,000, you'd be in the 12% tax bracket. The top of that bracket is $48,475. That means you could convert $8,475 and stay within it. But not everyone has that window. If you have a pension, Social Security, or other guaranteed income, your floor in retirement may already be high enough that that window barely exists. Let's say you retire at 60 with a $40,000 pension. At 62, Social Security starts at $28,000. That's $68,000 in guaranteed income before you touch a single dollar of that IRA. That low bracket window is gone before you even start. Before you assume that window exists for you, map out every source of guaranteed income in retirement and look at where that puts you on the tax brackets. That window may be much smaller or shorter than you think. Now, even if you've got that window figured out, the fifth reason can make the strategy fall apart, and it's the one that actually changed my own decision. I'd never fully understood this rule until I ran my own numbers, and when I did, the math on my conversion changed completely. It's called the pro-rata rule, and this is how it works. If you have a mix of pre-tax and after-tax money across traditional IRAs, and you want to just convert the after-tax portion, the IRS doesn't let you choose. They treat all your IRA money as one pool. Here's what that looks like. Let's say you have an old IRA with $90,000 in pre-tax contributions, and you open a new IRA with $10,000 of after-tax contribution, and you decide to convert just that $10,000 because you've already paid tax on it. Well, the IRS looks at your total picture and sees that you have $100,000 total across all your IRAs. And $10,000 of that total balance is after tax. That's 10%. So when you convert that $10,000, they say 10% is tax-free. The other 90% is taxable. So you owe tax on $9,000 of that conversion, even though from your perspective, you've already paid tax on it. This also affects people doing backdoor Roth contributions. That's where you contribute to a traditional IRA and immediately move it to a Roth. If you have any other IRAs with pre-tax money sitting out there, the pro-rata rule applies to all of it, and it can make the strategy cost more than it saves. The fix for some people is to roll that pre-tax IRA money into a 401k if their plan allows it. We've covered 5 reasons not to convert. That doesn't mean never convert. Sometimes it's exactly the right move, but just for reasons that are different from what people think. The main case where it genuinely makes sense is long-term control, protecting a surviving spouse, leaving money to heirs with less tax burden, and having certainty about your own tax picture when tax rates might rise. Those are real reasons, but just make sure that the value you're getting isn't costing you more than you need to pay. And knowing where the value is and where the trap is exactly what I wanted to hear from someone who navigates these decisions with clients. Shahmeen Khan is an investment advisor at Meridian Wealth, and she works with clients in exactly the same situation many of you are in, mid to late career with real retirement questions.
The timing is usually right when their current tax rate is relatively low and you have room in the lower tax bracket because you don't want that Roth conversion to bump you up in the next tax bracket. The thing is, you don't take into account all your IRAs, which is that whole pro rata rule that kicks in. It's a great tool, honestly, for estate planning. You're inheriting it tax-free. And that is the greatest gift, I would say, you can leave to your children or grandchildren.
What you just heard reinforces something important. This is not a one-size-fits-all decision. The right answer depends entirely on your numbers, your timeline, and your full financial picture. Before you convert, get clear on a few things. First, who is this conversion for? You, your spouse, your heirs? Does having your taxes settled up front genuinely matter to you and your situation? And how are you paying that tax bill? Does it make sense in the short term? Next, does the bracket math actually work for your numbers? Do you have a real bracket window, or does your guaranteed income fill it before you even start? And third, do you have multiple IRAs with pre-tax money? Run that pro rata calculation across all your accounts before you decide. And fourth, what does a jump in income during those conversion years do to your ACA subsidies and IRMA surcharges? If the answers line up with your goals and you'll sleep better knowing your tax picture is settled, a Roth conversion might be exactly the right move. But if you're married and filing jointly, there's one more thing you need to understand before you decide. It's called the widow's tax penalty, the tax changes that affect a surviving spouse, and they can be severe. Most couples planning a Roth conversion never run these numbers, and I break it down in this video right here. I'll see you there next.